More than half of Canadian snowbirds have just ditched their U.S. homes. And it's not just about money. Politics, climate disasters, and even one shocking ice raid are all colliding to make this snowbird season unlike any we've ever seen. And the ripple effects aren't just hitting Canadians. They're hitting U.S. communities that have relied on snowbird dollars for decades. For those who don't know, snowbirds are Canadians who pack up each winter and head south, usually to Florida, Arizona, or California. It's been a tradition for decades, and it's not just a vacation. Snowbirds buy second homes, condos, and seasonal rentals. They pump serious money into local economies, restaurants, golf courses, medical clinics, and even car dealerships. To give you a sense of scale, a typical snowbird family can drop $50,000 or more in just one season. Multiply that by hundreds of thousands of Canadians, and you get billions flowing into the U.S. economy every winter. For states like Florida, snowbirds aren't just visitors, they're lifelines. But here's the kicker. This year, everything is different. According to a brand new survey, more than half of Canadian snowbirds are selling their U.S. properties. Some have already cashed out, others are planning to. And the reasons they're giving? Let's just say they're a nightmare for anyone banking on snowbird season to rescue local businesses. The Royal LePage survey found that 54% of Canadians who own property in the U.S. have either already sold or plan to sell soon. That's more than half of Canada's snowbird class packing up and saying goodbye to America. Now, surveys come and go, but this one had a detail that stood out. Of those planning to sell, 62% blamed the current U.S. political administration. And of those who already sold, 44% cited politics directly. We'll get into that politics piece in a moment. But think about that for a second. That's not just economics or lifestyle choices. That's people making huge financial decisions because they no longer feel comfortable or welcome. And it wasn't gradual. Realtors reported that entire condo markets saw Canadians listing properties all at once. It wasn't like a slow drip of listings over 6 months. It was a flood. As if everyone collectively said, "We're done." One Canadian agent even admitted it felt like a statement. Not just an investment move, a social and political one. And when you see that kind of coordinated exit, you know the tide has turned. So what does this mean for the U.S.? Let's take Florida as an example. Snowbirds aren't just casual renters, they're long-term investors who bring predictability to local businesses. They're the ones filling golf courses on weekday mornings, booking dinner reservations at 5 p.m., and keeping those small-town pharmacies afloat during the slow season. Now imagine 54% of them gone. That's fewer cars being bought, fewer homes being maintained, fewer restaurant meals, and fewer tickets sold at local attractions. When families are dropping $50,000 each season, and suddenly that spending disappears, the hole left behind is massive. And it's not just about money, it's about confidence. Realtors are already seeing inventories climb in snowbird-heavy areas. In markets where Canadians have traditionally dominated, think Florida's 55-plus communities, listings are piling up. Some condos under $100,000 have been sitting unsold for 8 months. That's unheard of in a state that's supposed to be one of the hottest real estate markets in America. If you're a local business owner in Florida, Arizona, or California, this isn't just numbers on a survey. This is your winter season collapsing before it even begins. So why now? Why are Canadians walking away in record numbers? The number one reason: politics. Canadians are fed up with what they see when they cross the border. According to the survey, 62% of those planning to sell cited the U.S. political administration as their motivation. That means the Trump effect, the rhetoric, the chaos, the MAGA hostility, is literally driving people out of the country. And it's not just about disliking one politician, it's about the atmosphere that comes with him. Over the years, I've heard countless snowbirds say the same thing. It just doesn't feel the same anymore. The friendly welcome they once got is being replaced with suspicion. The MAGA crowd isn't shy about telling foreigners to go home. And when that message is repeated enough times, people take it seriously. For many Canadians, the U.S. went from being a sunny escape to a stressful gamble. Do you really want to pour money into a place where you feel unwelcome? Do you want to pay rising fees, deal with political hostility, and hope that the next hurricane doesn't wipe out your investment? For a lot of snowbirds, the answer is now a hard no. And it's not just politics. The cost of living in Florida has exploded. Insurance premiums have skyrocketed thanks to hurricanes and flooding. Maintenance fees keep climbing. Even day-to-day living expenses, groceries, fuel, utilities, are hitting levels that make snowbirds stop and think. And let's be real, Canadians already deal with a tough exchange rate. When your dollar only buys 70 or 75 cents of US currency, every expense gets magnified. So when a hurricane season destroys half a coastline and insurers jack up rates again, many snowbirds look at their balance sheet and say, "Why am I still doing this?" This isn't just theoretical. Canadians who bought property when our dollar was nearly at par are cashing out now with a built-in profit just from the exchange rate. Even if they sell for the same sticker price they paid years ago, they're making 30% or more on the currency difference alone. So it's not just about fear or frustration. For many, it's also about smart timing. But all of that pales compared to what I'm about to tell you next. While politics and hurricanes are serious, there's one story that shows just how far things have gone in the US. And it's so outrageous, it might make you question whether helping America is even worth it anymore. Let me tell you about one of the most disturbing headlines I've read in a long time. This summer, Washington State was battling its largest wildfire, the Bear Gulch Fire. It burned nearly 9,000 acres, forced evacuations, and stretched local firefighting resources to the brink. To keep the blaze from spreading, officials brought in contracted crews from Oregon. These were men and women who left their families, risked their lives, and worked brutal shifts trying to save American homes, forests, and communities. And then, in the middle of this emergency, Border Patrol showed up. That's right. Federal immigration agents drove into an active wildfire zone, lined up 44 firefighters, and demanded their IDs. Think about that. Instead of focusing on the flames, crews were suddenly dealing with armed officers. And out of those 44 workers, 2 were arrested on immigration charges. What happened next was even worse. The government didn't just detain the 2 individuals, they terminated the contracts for both Oregon companies that supplied the crews and sent the other 42 firefighters home. Just like that, in the middle of an ongoing disaster, dozens of firefighters were removed from the front lines. Now, officials claim this was about verifying contractor compliance. But here's the thing. Biden-era policy actually bans most immigration enforcement at disaster sites. The whole point is to keep emergencies focused on saving lives, not paperwork. Yet, here we are. The reaction was swift. Firefighters called it dangerous and demoralizing. State leaders blasted it as reckless. And for Canadians, and frankly, anyone watching abroad, the question became unavoidable. Why would any other country send their firefighters to help the US after this? Imagine risking your life in a foreign country, only to get detained, lined up, and told you're not welcome. It's outrageous. And it underscores a bigger issue. America is becoming a place where even those trying to help can be treated like criminals. And if that's how they treat the people saving their forests, how do you think snowbirds, who are just trying to enjoy a warm winter, feel when they see this? So if Canadians are selling, where's the money headed? The survey has the answer. Roughly a third, 32%, plan to reinvest back into Canada's real estate market. That means more demand in places like Muskoka, Collingwood, Canmore, and Quebec's cottage country. Areas that already attract retirees and seasonal buyers are about to see a surge. But it's not just Canada. Some snowbirds are diversifying into new destinations entirely. Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, even Thailand. These spots are cheaper, politically stable, and far more welcoming to foreigners. And unlike Florida, you don't need to worry about getting caught in the crossfire of the next election cycle. That's what makes this trend so significant. For decades, American states like Florida banked on the idea that snowbirds would always come back. That no matter what happened, Canadians would keep filling condos, buying insurance, and spending cash. But now, Canadians are realizing they have options. And once you start spending winters in Mexico or back in Muskoka, there's no guarantee you ever return to Florida. So let's step back for a second. What does this all mean for the United States? First, it's an economic hit. The loss of billions in snowbird spending isn't something local businesses can shrug off. Restaurants, contractors, golf courses, and seasonal rentals are all going to feel it. Second, it's a reputational hit. When headlines spread about Canadians walking away, not because of money alone, but because of politics, hostility, and immigration crackdowns, it tells the world something important. America doesn't feel safe or welcoming anymore. And third, it's a permanent shift. This isn't just a pause until the next administration. Many Canadians who sell this year are never coming back. They're reinvesting elsewhere, and once those dollars are gone, they're gone. The U.S. is underestimating just how much it relies on snowbirds. For years, that spending was baked into local economies like Florida's. But now, officials may wake up to find entire communities missing their lifeline. And when the U.S. media starts running reports with titles like, "The Snowbirds never came back, and we don't know why," well, Canadians will know exactly why. So here's the bottom line. This snowbird season might be remembered as the year Canadians said goodbye for good. It's not just politics. It's not just hurricanes. It's not just rising costs. It's all of it together, capped off by shocking incidents like Border Patrol raiding firefighters mid-disaster. That's why Canadians are selling. That's why money is flowing back into Canada or into Mexico and Costa Rica. And that's why U.S. communities that depended on snowbirds are about to learn a hard lesson about what happens when you take people for granted. If you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor. Hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.